What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, Connie Nielsen, and the one and only Christopher Lloyd. First of all, ever since the trailers for this particular movie came out, this movie is getting a lot of flack about being the low budget John Wick, the poor man's John Wick, or just one of those movies that is along the lines of John Wick or The Equalizer. For the simple fact that it's another one that some bad guys come in and they violate something that this simple man loves, and he snaps, loses it, and goes off on everybody in the movie. All right? And they're also saying that this is part of the same universe as John Wick. It's not. It's not. But that's what they're saying. So the question is this movie really a B-rated version of John Wick? Or does it have its own thing going on? Is it going to stand out on its own? That's what we're here to find out. And that's what we're going to do. Let's go. Nobody, for those who don't know, for those who are not aware, it's kind of hard to believe that you haven't heard of this movie. All right, this movie has been getting advertised since the end of last year. All right, the only reason I'm just now getting to it is because when it originally released in theaters, I was trying to watch King Kong versus Godzilla. All right, just like everybody else. So this kind of went under the radar. But here I am. Here I am. Nobody. Pretty much about a normal family man, somewhat normal, named Hutch. He's got the wife, he's got the kids, he used to be an auditor, whatever. All right. So he's got the pretty normal life. He has a very routine life that he lives every day. Lame, boring, same thing every day, right? And so one night, his house gets burglarized, right? And his son ends up bringing more action to this than he did. When it all got down to it, Hutch is like, "Stop, son." No, he tells his son to stop. And then, the burglars get away with what they get away with. And at that point, his whole family is kind of looking at him like less of a man. He's supposed to be the man of the house. What are you doing? And a big deal is made about that and blah, blah, blah. And what his family doesn't know, this whole time, their dad has a double life. Their dad was a whole nother person back in the day. He used to be the guy that they would call to come to your house. And then when you see him, that's the last person you're going to see. All right. He was that guy. And I'm not even sure if this guy was supposed to be a bad guy or a good guy still. I'm a little confused on that. But he was that guy. So those old feelings started to come back up slowly. And then eventually he grew back into the person he used to be. He regressed. All right. And after that, I'm pretty sure you can imagine what happened. And that is the premise of the movie. Now, positives. I'm going to say off the bat, the action was phenomenal. Or I should say this, the action was realistic. Okay, I respect it for being real, or as real as it can be. There were some wild moments, some crazy moments, that couldn't really happen in real life. There were those moments, but it wasn't as bad as like Equalizer, where the man never gets touched until he hurt himself. All right, it wasn't that stupid. It wasn't stupid like that. All right, this movie, this man gets stabbed. He gets punched. You can see him hurt. You can hear him groaning from the pain that he suffers from. He takes in. All right. So he takes some L's. Absolutely. You can even tell from the first fight that he had on the bus that they show in the trailer. Yeah, he was struggling. He was struggling with that fight just to get back into the mode of how he used to do. It took a minute. He just wasn't up and at him. You know what I'm saying? Those guys on that bus were giving him some work. They were giving him some work. I'm not even going to lie. They were. All right. So I respect that part. I really do. Another positive about this, it was just good to see Bob Odenkirk play a role like this. Not a lot of comedians, and he's a comedian. I remember when Bob Odenkirk came out years ago on Bob and David show. Yes, I'm that old. And anybody who is an avid HBO watcher knows what I'm talking about. Okay, they know what's up. Then he came out in a couple other movies through the years, and comedies now, just comedies. And then he did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I have not seen either one of those, by the way. If I need to see it, let me know. But yeah, so when he does a role like this, it's great. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because, like I said, not a lot of comedians can pull this off. I think one of the best to ever do it till this day is still Jamie Foxx. All right, but it's not a common thing. It's not extremely common. Some others have tried and succeeded, a little bit, but it's a hard thing to pull off. The serious to the comedy to action. It takes a special few. All right. Now, a third positive that I have to mention about this, I could absolutely relate to how his character was developed in the beginning. Because this is a guy that had to hold himself back. You got to remember, he had to hold himself back all those years. He had to reform himself to a different person. And he, for being a guy, like, okay, I'll say this. Personally, I used to like go off or get upset about things very easily. Like long time ago, years ago. I had to, over the years, learn how to calm myself down and not take things so seriously all the time. Not put my feelings on my shoulder and like just take everything personally. Those are years back. And for somebody to have to do that, and then there's that one thing that sets you off. You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, in this movie, it was a slow build up after that one thing set him off. But once he came back to the old him, there was no stopping him. And I know a lot of people besides myself can feel that situation, can understand that feeling or having that emotion where you've brought me back to the old me. And now there's no going back. You shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? So I really felt that. That's one of probably the best parts that I enjoyed, because I was lashing out at the screen like, oh, you need a, and he just couldn't. All right, he just couldn't do it. Love that part. So let's get into the negatives, shall we? Oh man, this negatives is gonna have a two-part thing on this. All right, when I say that, there were some parts in this movie that really didn't make sense. They really didn't connect with the rest of the movie, or just you could easily see the flaw, or ask yourself why did this happen? Example number one. And this is in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. You see him in the trailer tell his family to hide in that little crawl space or whatever was in that basement for a minute. Because, bad guys are about to come in the house. Bad guys are about to rush in the house and mess things up. Right? Now, so common sense would tell the bad guys when they step in the house, there's going to be pictures of the family up somewhere in the house. There's going to be things laying around that tell you that this man has a family that exists. Okay? So when those bad guys came in the house, please tell me why none of them thought to look around a little harder for the family. Wouldn't that have made sense? I think, they overcome him at one time and moment, and which gives them enough time to search the house. But they didn't. And the family was in that crawl space or whatever they were in the entire time. It is not completely realistic. Part two of this. All right, Christopher Lloyd. And this is not spoiling anything either, because this is kind of almost a given. Christopher Lloyd is, and they mention this in the movie. It's not a big special reveal. It's not a reveal at all. Christopher Lloyd is in the movie. He is an associate of Hutch's. Let's say that. He's an associate. You see the age that Christopher Lloyd is, right? He's not getting any younger. Let's just put it like that. No disrespect, Christopher Lloyd. Okay, no disrespect. But I have to say this, man. Christopher Lloyd does some action scenes in this movie that, looking at his age, you know damn well he's not doing any of that. He is not doing a percentage of what he did in this movie. I even laughed. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or what, but I laughed. I did laugh, so I thank you for that. But that part was not realistic. As far as the action was realistic, that little part, every time he popped up, I couldn't contain myself. Like, no, man, no. What is this? What are you doing? What are you doing, man? Go lay down, get some sleep. Christopher Lloyd, please. Take a nap. Take a nap. All right, another negative. This movie, the pace of this movie was way too fast. Now, I usually get on movies for being too slow. This one happened a little too fast. Yes, there was a build up to him, a little bit of a build up to him becoming the old him, but it was, in all honesty, a little quick for that. For somebody who has been dormant, like he said in the movie, he's been dormant for all these years. It would take a little longer. And I think I wanted to see that. I actually wanted to see the slow buildup of him becoming the old him again. It's a little slower. It would have meant a lot more to me, just to be honest. So it was a little quick with this movie. That I noticed that a lot. And then my last negative about this, the villains. The villains were almost to nothing. All right, the villains just seemed like cardboard figures that were just put there to murder. All right, they were nothing. They were nothing. The boss, the big guy in the movie, he wasn't interesting. He was nothing as well for a boss, for a big guy. I mean, he was tough, but it really was like a carbon copy of the usual action movie that you see all the time with the bad guy. All right, I mean, they used the Russian thing again. These are Russians. How many times have we seen that? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's really, there was really nothing to it when it came to the villains. And I need my villains to be like the video games. Of course, you can punch your way through the goons. I'm cool with that. But have at least one or two characters in this movie that gives you a little bit of a hard time. All right? And then the boss, when you get to that boss in that video game, you know it's that boss. I needed that in this movie. That never really clicked. Just think about it. It never really clicked. But all that said, I got to give this an I cool. Yes, an I cool. And that's because like I said, I really enjoyed seeing Bob Odenkirk play this kind of role. And I could feel his character's role. All right. It was relatable in some ways. Not to the extent of what he did, but it was relatable in some ways. All right. But I need you to press that like button, share this, and subscribe if you haven't.